안녕하세요, 브릭스입니다. 저는 애나벨 선생님이고요. 저는 브릭스에서 영어 내신과 Analytical and Academic Writing을 맡고 있고요. 영어 말고도 히스토리도 가르치고 있어요. 컨설팅 쪽에서는 주니어 컨설팅을 많이 하고 있고요. 인터뷰와 에세이 담당도 하고 있어요. So, 오늘 저희가 바로 얘기할 내용은 바로 인터뷰에 대해서 알아볼 건데요. 특히나 인터뷰 트렌드와 팁에 대해서 알아볼 거예요. So today we are going to go over interview tips and trends. And interviews have always been around, but they have never been required for college admissions, especially undergraduate admissions. There have been, in-person interviews and also alumni interviews, but they haven't been required. But one thing that we are seeing these days is that the interview trend is increasing. Colleges are starting to look more and more at interviews and video interviews, and this could be very helpful for your application, and they're becoming more and more important. And so alumni interviews have been around for a while, but as there are more opportunities for virtual interviews, and also the SAT and the ACT now being optional has really raised the importance of interviews. And so I'm seeing this personally at my own school. I am an Emory alumni, and when I was applying, and even up till a couple years ago, there was no interview section. There was no alumni interviews, no in-person interviews. However, about 2 years ago, I started receiving emails from Emory asking alumni to join their team and to interview prospective students. And so this is showing me that Emory University, as well as other universities, are really expanding their interview programs. And so we're definitely seeing an increase in these alumni interviews. And for these alumni interviews, they are giving students the chance to show schools who they are and give kind of them a bigger insight. And also universities are able to learn a little bit more about the student aside from the application. Other than alumni interviews, there are also third-party interviewers. So these third-party companies such as Initial View and Vericant, they conduct video interviews. And so colleges started to recommend these to students who cannot make it to an alumni interview or to an in-person interview. And so this is also showing us the importance of the interviews. So if you are an international student and can do both the alumni interview and this third-party video interview, then that's highly recommended. And so overall, with the increase in opportunities for an interview, it's definitely becoming more and more important and can boost your application. As for boarding school students, interviews are required for your application, and so those are very, very important, so make sure you prepare for that. So we are going to move on to our next section, which is what are the colleges looking for and why? And so I'm going to go over some interview tips. So one thing that we need to remember is that a college interview is not a job interview. So because it's not a job interview, we don't want to be as formal. Colleges are really looking for who you are, and they're trying to see if you're going to be a good fit and a good addition to their institution. So because of this, we don't want to be formal, but instead, we should try to be a little bit deeper and more personal. So try to think of it as a more personal, one-to-one conversation with your interviewer. And so for tips, the first tip that I want to give you guys is to really know your strengths and your interests. You want to focus less on your accomplishments and what major you want to study. This kind of information is already in your application. So instead, you want to use this valuable interview time to focus on your personal stories. You want to focus on your passions and even those extracurriculars. Tell them what you like to do in your free time. Tell them what you love and what your passions are. Another tip is they want to know who you are, right? And so you want to be as personal as possible. So really giving those personal stories, letting them see who you are, showing your true personality and what makes you shine, that's going to be really important. Our third tip is to make sure this might seem a little obvious, but the third tip is to ask your interviewer questions. If there are no questions in the middle of the interview or after, it may come off that you're not as interested in their school. And so we want to make sure that we're interested in the school. We want to show our passion for the school as well. So make sure you at least prepare a couple interview questions. And so we're going to wrap up this video now, but I just want everyone to remember for interviews, there are 3 P's. And so the first P is to be passionate, right? Be passionate about the school, be passionate about who you are, show your passions. The second P is to be personal. Make sure you include your stories, make sure you show them who you are as a person. And the third P is paint a picture. You want to paint a picture of you and your experiences so they can picture you at their school. And so with these 3 P's in mind, I hope everyone has an easier time preparing for their interviews. So good luck, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye!